Have you ever had an extra ability that you no longer seem to have? When I was a kid, I could tell you what was going to happen next. It wasn't often, and it didn't happen all the time, but sometimes I could tell you exactly what the next step of events was going to be. Now, one time I was sitting at the bingo hall, and I was sitting there with my little dauber baby. That's the way I was raised. I was raised in the bingo hall, and my mama was sitting there with me and my sister, and I'm sitting there waiting for the next number, and all of a sudden I look over at my sister, and I say, B12. And now B12 did pop up on the screen. So my sister spent the rest of the night trying to cheat, trying to get me to call out the numbers, and I'm like, honey, I really don't know what they are. You can't cheat that way anyways. So it is quite a few years later. When I'm at a friend's house, I'm at a party I'm not supposed to be at. Well, technically my mother knew where I was, but she didn't know what we were doing. So I'm sitting there and we're having a good old time, and I'm like, my mama's gonna call. And my mama was not the type to call. She was not the type to check up on me, but she really did. She called within the next few minutes, and I had to come up with some crazy ass excuse for why it was so loud there. Now, a few years after this, I am being a bad kid once again, and I'm sneaking out, and I'm doing the things that teen girls do sometimes. And I'm just sitting there on the side of the road with my good friend, and I look at her and I say, my sister's going to drive by. And I'll be damned if within a few minutes my sister did not drive by. She did. She drove right on by, and I got into a lot of trouble for that one. Now, there were other things. I could also guess the card that you had in your hand. I don't know what that was, but we would have like a deck of playing cards, and my friend would look at the card, and then she would look at me and look me in the eye, and for some reason I had about a 98% accuracy. I could tell her what card she was looking at. Now, I'm pretty sure I can't do that to this day, and it was probably just coincidence or great pattern recognition, but it was, something I like to think about every now and then. So any of you have any stories like that?